Hey guys, this is Red and Blue, your channel on YouTube for all things PSG, and today we've got a special episode. The Champions League is back. Yes, we made it through January. We made it through the Christmas break. Real football is coming back, and we've got a super exciting game coming up in Portugal, in Lisbon, against Sporting Club Portugal. And for the occasion, I invited one of the guys from channel All Things Alvalade. I'm not entirely sure if I'm pronouncing this right, to come join me and tell us more about the Sporting Portugal team and what we can expect from this game. So, without further ado, let's just roll into this. Hey, Richard, man, how's it going?
I'm good. I'm very good. Thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited for this match.
Yeah.
We were just saying before we started recording that PSG feels like half the Portuguese national team on this team, including a former Sporting player, Nuno Mendes, who was our former left back, title-winning left back with us. But it's a very exciting match. Like, we're playing, like, you guys are the reigning Club World Cup or Intercontinental Cup champions, European champions, treble winners. So it's a very big match for us, obviously.
Yeah, we're excited as well because, you're right, we've got so many Portuguese players. It feels like coming home a little bit, and I think for all of them, it's going to be super special. Even if they don't come from Sporting, with all of the rivalry with Benfica, with Porto, and so on. I think even for players like Vitinha, like João Neves, obviously, there's some history going on there, and it's a special game. I think for me, even as a PSG fan, I was racking my brain, but I don't think we've got much history of playing against one another.
No,
so
not
it's
really. We played a lot of
like,
other French teams, but not really PSG.
I mean, I was rewatching the highlights of your win against Marseille. Tremendously enjoyed that one. So, that's always a big plus.
It was nice because the last time we played Marseille, it was disastrous in the Champions League.
Yeah.
So we had two in the old and now the old format. I hate saying that.
Yeah.
It was two disaster games. So I will take the game we had against them this season.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, I'll be honest. Honestly, I don't think many French football fans follow Portuguese football that closely. I've got a rough understanding of the team. I know you guys lost Gyökeres obviously last summer. Can you just set the stage for us and what was this season? What is this season looking like for Sporting so far?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean the Portuguese league is we're not in the top 5 leagues. We're kind of in that tier below with the Eredivisie, the Belgian Pro League, even the Turkish league, the Scottish league. We're kind of in that tier 2 of European leagues. We produce a lot of really good players, not just Sporting, but Porto and Benfica as well are just factories for talent. In terms of the season for Sporting this year, I mean, we're the defending league and cup champions in Portugal. We're in second place in league right now, although Porto's team is very good this season. They have a phenomenal coach. Last season was kind of chaotic because Ruben Amorim left mid-season, and funny, he's now out of his new job, which all of us predicted pretty much on our show last year. But yeah, Rui Borges is a bit of a different coach than Ruben Amorim. This is a team that you'll find can be very frustrating defensively sometimes. We gave Bayern, of all teams, a very tough time actually in our game against them. Really frustrated them. Actually had a lead against them, which bewilders me, but we did. We have a really good goalie in Rui Silva. He is one of the best goalies in Portugal. Probably would be the number 2 choice for the national team behind Diogo Costa. In terms of players to watch too, obviously Trincão, Pedro Gonçalves, Gonçalo Inácio, national team players for Portugal. Even though we lost Victor Gyökeres, our new striker, replacement striker, if you will, Luis Suarez has been pretty good this season. He's got 20 goals, I think, already in all competitions, which we as Sporting fans had said, look, if he gets 20 to 30 goals in all comp seasons, we'll take it. You're looking to replace Gyökeres, who scored 50-something goals in all competition last year and almost won the Golden Boot with less of a multiplier than Kylian Mbappe.
I mean, should have won the Golden Boot.
Technically, he was the absolute top scorer in Europe, no question. But because of the new multipliers, he, if you play for Real Madrid or PSG or Man City, you get a double multiplier. We only get 1.5. But yeah, so that's not easy to replace those goals. They've been I think this season our offense is much more spread out. Whereas last season, if anybody would watch our games, it was kind of give it to Gyökeres and let him bully defenders and hope. This year, a lot more spread out. You're getting goals from all across the team, which is really nice to see. You're probably going to expect it to play much more counter-attacking style too. We're going to be kind of looking, I think, for this game, smash and grab. We know who we're playing. Like, we're not expecting to be holding a lot of possession. I mean, we'll have some spells for sure, but I think, especially with that PSG midfield, like João Neves, Vitinha alone, like two of probably the top 5 midfielders on the planet. That being said, we have a couple of our own midfielders. Morten Hjulmand, who's the Danish national team captain. It's been highly touted and has been scouted by several teams, Premier League teams. Manchester United is looking to ruin his career, I hear. So good luck if you go there.
Good career choices.
Yeah, great career choices. We also have some fun players coming back from AFCON. So Jenny Katamo, who just came back with a nice showing with Mozambique. Ousmane Diomande, who had a nice showing with the now not defending champions Cote d'Ivoire. He's one of their top players, and he's one of our best defenders. He's like 20 years old, and he's such a diamond in the rough player because he's
one of the players that always gets talked about for PSG whenever we've got a gap in defense.
He's such a young
the name
player.
Just continuously pops up in PSG as well.
Well, he's such a young player. I remember when Sporting signed him. He was 18 playing on loan in the second division of Portugal, and we all kind of saw this transfer and thought, is this a money laundering transfer? Because this is really weird. And then he almost instantly walked into the team, was playing Europa League ties against Arsenal where we beat them. Like it was like, oh my God, we got like the bargain of the century for this player. So yeah, he's someone who definitely keep an eye on. Like, he's so young and plays very much beyond his years at times, prone to a boneheaded mistake sometimes too. Late last season, he had a couple really silly red cards that almost cost us the title down the stretch. But yeah, this is a well-organized team. It's a balanced team all throughout. So expect some fun players.
I was doing my research actually, and like I've got to say, like, I mean, I knew all of the players, and but I hadn't connected the dots that all of them were in Sporting at the same time. I think like the central defenders, like both Diomande and Ignacio as well, we keep hearing about even in French football. In midfield, he has a Danish guy. Like, I'm not going to try pronouncing his name, but like I know I'd looked at him and considered it when I was doing my my ideal mercato for PSG last summer. And if we needed someone to bring in a bit of depth and a bit of impact in midfield, it was one of the ones that I was kind of like looking at. And then up front, like Trincao, obviously we know of, and like he's made his way through big clubs as well, and he's been performing for a while. Quenda is also like a young hope of Portuguese football that we keep hearing about. Luis Suarez, you're right, has made like an impact since coming on the team. Like I was looking at it and like kind of connecting the dots and there's some real stuff going on in this team.
Sure.
I think in the end it's going to be super interesting because I think like obviously PSG, like, we're fresh off of a legendary year of winning basically everything that can be won. And we've got like a really, really like, as strong a team as can be, especially all of our players are young. But it's been like kind of an on and off year for us. We didn't have any kind of time in the summer to rest and to do any physical prep. So the team has been running on fumes since basically the beginning of the year.
There's too many games. There's just too many games. We need a break.
The Club World Cup last summer, man, that just like killed us for nothing in the end. And so like typically the team just suits up for the Champions League games, and you see like the players really turn it on when they hear the Champions League music. But we've had so many injuries. We've had like players not really performing at their top level. Right now, it feels like the team is on a little bit of an ascendant curve since the beginning of the year. Dembele is coming back big time as well, which is making a huge difference. But it's always a question mark for me when I do previews of Champions League game, because like I don't know which PSG is going to turn up. I hope it's the Champions League version, and like if that's the case, I think you guys are in for a rough time, if I'm honest.
Oh, we do predictions on our show, and like
Yeah.
I think we're all going to be predicting a loss.
But I mean, like I remember like predicting a PSG wins when we went on to Bilbao, and in the end, like we got a draw, and like honestly, that was definitely a fair result as well. So it's not impossible that you guys get away with something. I hope that's not going to be the case, but
I'm hoping if we get a draw,
possible.
If we get a draw, I'm gonna do a knee slide in my living room.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Like, I'm not expecting big things from us in this game, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like because I think PSG right now, like the way I'm looking at this game, there's a couple of I think like specific areas of the pitch where the game is going to be lost or won, and I think in midfield in particular, players like Vitinha is really like running on fumes the past few games, and like we're not right now seeing the best of Vitinha. He's still, a super like technical player, really important to the team, controlling the tempo and everything. But I think he's not as sharp as he can be, and you definitely see that on the pitch. João Neves was actually out injured for last league game, so I think supposedly he's going to be back for this one. But there's always a little bit of doubt when you've got a player missing the game before. And Fabian Ruiz, honestly, like his last game was very good, but he's been also on and off. And so all of a sudden, like our midfield trio, which was really like the core of the machine of winning the Champions League last year, it's really question mark as to what players are going to turn up and what levels they're going to be at.
It's the consequence of being like a good team that goes deep in all competitions, right? Like, unfortunately, you're going to play Jurgen Klopp complained about it a couple years ago. Like, it's the deficit of being a good team. You're going to have extra games. You're going to be going deep in these competitions against top teams. You're going to have fatigue. You're going to have injuries. Unfortunately, it's just kind of the double-edged sort of football. You love to be in the late stage of the Champions League. But then all of a sudden it's like, oh crap, like our midfielders are, our goalies could take a knock. It's modern football. That's what it is. This PSG team still is very fun to watch, very exciting. I think it's the most enjoyable. As someone who actually grew up watching Liga, because we used to get a game a week here in Canada. So I remember like those Lyon teams, some of the fun Marseille teams, even like I remember Pedro Pauleta, my Portuguese brethren. So I remember like some of the old like French football, some of the original stuff. But this is a very fun PSG team. It's funny how it kind of took Mbappe and Neymar and Messi all leaving for you guys to really finally find like a true identity and like a really fun style of play instead of just give it to the superstar and hope. I really enjoy that.
I think, like, credit to Luis Enrique for the playing style, and credit to Luis Campos in terms of how the squad is
brilliant
built.
Coach and technical directors. Like such smart hires.
But I think, like, to just like go back to what you were saying in terms of like playing a lot of games and how like that's the curse of the big team. I think that's spot on, but it's also like to some extent the club made a choice to move away from like the superstar era and like doesn't want to just add player to add player. And so at the moment, like the philosophy within PSG is to say like, we've got a squad of 14, 15 like top players, and then we'll supplement that with kids from the academy and youngsters and so on. And so, you do see like a really strong team, but you do also see, obviously we went into Barcelona and kind of got the win in Barcelona with half of the team being academy players, which is crazy. And I think like, that's got its advantages, that's got its drawbacks as well. And I think, when you lose, I can see like all of my comments, people are really saying we should just spend money and being in good players.
But you look at Real Madrid, for example, like spending money, it doesn't just solve everything. Like they just fired Xabi Alonso. So it's great to be able to throw money around. Like I'll say as a fan of a team that doesn't really get to throw money around. It's great to do, but
where did the Gyökeres money go? Like you guys got like, what was it, like 100 million? It was going on forever.
So we got 60 or 70 million, I think, up front, and then the rest is like bonus. It's like bonus. It was the same with like when we sold Bruno Fernandes. It was like 55 million up front. I think it ended up with the bonuses going up to like 65 or 70. I think it's just you can spend as much money as you want. It doesn't always mean you're automatically going to win. It's just not your God-given right. Like that's how the Portuguese teams have gotten by, because we're kind of behind in the times. Is we we've always kind of developed from within or bought really cheap. From other Portuguese teams from South America, a lot of Portuguese teams, us included, are actually starting to go to Eastern Europe and Scandinavia and scouting now. That's been kind of an underserved market. We were joking, we signed like Jokeres, we signed Morten Hjulmand, we signed Conrad Harder, who I think is now with Red Bull Leipzig. We're like, are we just like getting all the Viking boys? What's going on? But like, they were good players. They're good players for us. So I think there's advantages to developing from within as well with your academy, and I like seeing that because it gives the team an identity, and it gives fans like something to kind of latch onto instead of, well, here's the new all-star kind of thing, right?
Yeah. No, for sure. And I think, we've been lucky as well, which is that for us, like the Paris area is just so loaded with talent. And I think like in world football, typically, like I think the data is that Paris and Sao Paulo are like the two areas in the world that churn in the most,
they produce the most
professional football players in the top 5 leagues or whatever it is. So we do have like an area around us that's just so ripe with talent, and where there's just so many kids to work with. And you see it, like obviously it's really, really hard for kids from Paris to make it into our first team right now, because like when you're at the top, like literally we've got top players in every position. But a player like Zaire Emery, for example, is like, I mean, he's still developing, he's still super young, but he's a generational talent as far as I'm concerned. And you're gonna see him like not in his position, because it's probably gonna be the last game we have to play without Hakimi, which is very lucky for you guys. So he's been playing at right back instead of his normal midfield position, but he's been like literally so good playing out of position, covering for Hakimi, that I've seen debate in France that maybe we should like play him there with the French national team for the World Cup instead of Koundé. So this is kind of like the level of talent that sometimes you manage to access through your academy, that you definitely don't want to see going off to other teams.
Oh, absolutely. Because then you see your academy player go, and he's, especially if it's for a rival, it's like the worst thing. It's like that's like a dagger to the heart. It's funny because like you talk about players playing at a position, and like that's kind of been our identity for the last 5 or 6 years specifically. Like we have Zuido de Bas, Belgian national team center back, who we had just such a barrage of injuries last year, especially in midfield. At mid-season, we were kind of having a bit of a collapse, and he actually stepped up to be a central midfielder. Very adequately, might I add, which was a very kind of good stroke of luck, stroke of genius from the management. We've had players like Trincão, who is traditionally a winger, who has been thriving as more of a number 10 or even like a false 9 in behind the striker this season. Pedro Gonçalves is a player who, when we first purchased him a few years ago, he was a midfielder through and through, like an out-and-out midfielder, and he's transitioned to more of a winger the last couple years. So it's kind of something that we've really made a bit of an identity of, is playing players and kind of adjusting their positions. Giovanni Kenda, who you brought up earlier, he's probably more of, when he was coming up through our academy, he was probably more of a winger, and we kind of converted him to more of a wing back, right back under Ruben Amorim. I think he's kind of shifted to more of an attacking role on the wing in the midfield with Rui Borges now. It just sucks that he's hurt, because he's such a fun player, and you guys are going to get to miss out on seeing him. He's like Chelsea's 10th million signing, I think. He's technically on loan to us this season. We're not paying for him, but they were like, we need to shenanigan the financial fair play a bit, so we'll loan him back out to you. Which I was more than happy with, because we did
the same, something similar with Nuno Mendes back in the day, right? Like I remember his first year with us was on loan.
Was technically on loan to you,
guaranteed purchase or something. I mean, it was like silly like financial stuff.
We did that with Tottenham a couple years ago as well. When we sold Pedro Porro to Tottenham, we sold him for the half season, and his half season was on loan with an obligation to buy for X amount of money. So I think that's just kind of a way to get around some of that. There's always a loophole around financial rules. Someone like I live in Kansas, we have like obviously basketball, hockey. We have like salary caps. There's always a way to kind of finagle around the salary cap a little bit in these parts. And I always laugh a bit when people get mad at a team for finding a loophole. It's like, well, no, their management's smarter than your management. Like, sorry you didn't think of it first. Like they're well within their right to use the loophole. At the end of the day.
I mean, I'm not criticizing anyone on money stuff, apart from Barcelona, because that one is just a shit show.
There's something fishy there. I don't still quite entirely trust them.
No, for sure. So you were saying, like, you guys are used to playing players out of position. Like, what does the tactical system look like for Sporting Portugal? Is it 4-3-3? Like, what kind of shape are you guys looking at?
So we used to play three at the back. For us, Ruben Amorim loved his three at the back. With
Yeah, I
Rui
was gonna
Borges,
say
it's
that's
kind of
Ruben Amorim stamp,
that was
right?
the special. We never moved from that. When Rui Borges took over mid-season last season, he initially did try to move to a 4-3-3, and we were not getting results. He went back to the three at the back system, the 3-5-2, whatever it is. This season, we've kind of shifted back to a 4-3-3, and even the really old 4-4-2 at times with two strikers, with Suarez and Foot. With Suarez and Fotis, Ioannidis, the Greek international, up front. I would expect probably a 4-3-3 or 4-2 or 4-4-2 for this game.
Yeah.
You might see a three at the back this game with two wing backs, depending on how he chooses to line up. We've had some injuries, but like I said, with Jenny Katamo back from AFCON, Diamande already back from AFCON as well, you might see him decide to go a little more defensive with the three center backs and two fullbacks.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on that. But traditionally, we usually play with the 4-3-3, three midfielders, two wingers, and then a lone striker, and then the four standard defenders.
Yeah. I think for us, it's like, so the five at the back like always makes me a little bit nervous because we're seeing a lot of that in the French league, where just like teams come in against us and just park the bus. And we've had like so many painful games of just trying to break that down and squeezing by with like 1-0, 2-0 wins. It's kind of the story of our lives this season, and like makes for a lot of not so enjoyable games, if I'm honest. But yeah, PSG at the same time, it's been really interesting because I think like we've broken a lot of boundaries when it comes to tactical. On paper we start with a 4-3-3 that's like pretty clear and pretty well cut out, except like it moves into like when we're in possession a sort of like 3-2-5. Literally everyone
that's like a 1960 formation, 5 forwards, 2 midfielders, then the rest are all defenders.
It's like total football, total football made real for the 2020s again. It's very it's super fun to watch, but I think in terms of tactical organization, it's very strange, and like people switch positions as well and move around, and like you end up with Hakimi playing as number 9 and Dembele dropping back into midfield. You end up with like Doué moving from right to left and so on. And so it's, I know a lot of managers are looking at what we're doing and, trying to not only understand, but kind of seeing what they can replicate and like how they can make it work. But it's super, super tricky for opponents to really understand how the system works and how this PSG team is coming at them.
Yeah, it's hard to break down a team when your formation can be so fluid like that, right?
Yeah.
Like it is very tough to get like a real tactical breakdown when you're that fluid, when you're making that many transitions. I think for us you'll see it be a bit more rigid.
Yeah, I was gonna say for you guys, I think like the Bayern Munich game should actually give you a pretty good indication, because I think Bayern is one of those teams that actually like really picked up quickly on what we were doing, and like they're trying to really do the same. And I know, the games that we played against them in the Club World Cup and then in the Champions League earlier, they really came at us with very similar principle to what we're trying to do in terms of players moving in and out of position, in terms of applying a lot of pressure up front on the pitch, in terms of very high intensity of pressing and so on. Like, honestly, like when they came to the Parc des Princes for the Champions League, it felt like they were doing PSG in a better way than we could be doing at that point of the season.
Well, they're Bayern Munich. They can walk anywhere and be like, this is ours now, because they're Bayern Munich. Like, they can just do that.
Yeah. No, but I mean, like, they've been particularly impressive this season, and I think they picked up a lot of what we were doing and tried to take that on.
For sure. And they're another, like, I'm a football junkie, so I'll throw on a Bundesliga, and they're a very fun team to watch.
Oh yeah,
but I've noticed that a bit, where they have taken a bit of the PSG sort of influence almost out of and kind of made it a bit of their own, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, it all tracks back. It's like all of the Spanish coach and the Guardiola influence getting pushed to the next step, and how do people take like what Guardiola created not only in Barcelona but then later on when he was in Bayern or in Man City, and try to really take it to the next level. And I think, Company, Luis Enrique, like even Arteta in Arsenal, they're all cut from the same cloth in the end.
Oh, absolutely, without question. It's always funny to see, and you can even trace that back to like Frank Rijkaard and Johan Cruyff and Barca. Like you can trace this back and back and back, because of you look at that influence of Barcelona and their coaching philosophy, how much influence it's had especially in modern football. I mean, even Jose Mourinho, when he doesn't decide to play terrorist ball. Like in his prime, you can see some of that Barcelona influence with how he decided to build his teams, and just it's frustrating to play coaches like that because it's like, oh my god, like you're too smart for your own good sometimes. Some of these coaches, but you can definitely see that Barcelona influence with PSG and with, again, like you said, with Bayern and some of these other teams. Obviously, Man City with Pep. And Arteta at Arsenal, you're seeing a little bit of that kind of spread throughout football because it is just such a beautiful way of playing. It's the way I like to watch football be played.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite brands of foot. It's that and like the Brazilian, Jogo Bonito kind of style.
Yeah.
You like fun football. You don't like terrorist ball.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like the Diego Simeone of it all is not like, I don't think it's anyone's preferred way of looking at a football game.
Look, I watch Roberto Martinez and yell at my TV every couple months during international breaks. So trust me, I'm well aware. And before that, I had Fernando Santos, so I'm well aware of terrorist ball.
Yeah, true that. Well, it's like we'll see, but I think it might be a good year for Portugal as well in the World Cup. But like we'll see that later.
I think personally, I think we're an overrated team.
Oh man,
I think on paper it is a very brilliant team. I think everybody is so unbelievably talented. Even Ronaldo, who I will criticize, like there's still so much talent on that team. They don't play like a team though. Is kind of the best way I could describe it. They play like 11 different players. And the worst way to describe it is when things don't go their way almost instantly, they play like full diaper babies. Yeah. They get very upset. They get very agitated very quickly.
Yeah.
So I don't rate this team as highly as others just because they don't seem to gel as a team. They don't have that will to win. Like I remember watching when Portugal won the Euros in 2016 and thinking this team on paper has no business winning anything. But they would probably run through walls for each other and go to war because they played like a team. Whereas I think the team now is infinitely more talented than that team. But they don't give me the vibe that they would be willing to die on the pitch for each other.
Yeah. First, like I do not remember this Euro you're speaking of. It's my mind turns in a blank.
That's you're forgotten. See, I don't remember anything after the Euro 2004 semifinal.
Yeah, exactly.
They just didn't play the final. They were like, we're not playing.
I have absolutely no memories of that. I remember the semifinal against Germany, but apart from this, I've got absolutely no memory.
Yeah, I remember Euro 2004, like the great quarterfinal against England, the semifinal against they didn't play the final. It was crazy, right?
Yeah.
You know what? I don't care because you guys, France always beats Portugal. So that was the one time where like, look, let us have this one. You beat us every other time, and it was always Zidane or Platini. Let us have this one.
No, it's fine. You can have that one. It's all right. But yeah, it's funny because I think like honestly, if I was to speak of the French national team right now, I would say like very, very similar things to what you were saying about Portugal. I think like definitely overrated. I think France, like we've got gaps in midfield that people just underestimate, and that honestly like just prevent us from being a top team. And I think, the Mbappe of it all, like as a PSG fan, I'm just completely tainted and I cannot speak about Mbappe without like,
a little
going crazy. And like my opinion is not staying on Mbappe. But I think like just the influence that he has on the game in the French national team, even in Real, it's like definitely like, something to talk about. Like I don't think it's all positive. And I think like France in the World Cup, like people make it one of the big favorites. Like I absolutely.
It's a hard World Cup to predict this year because I think outside of Spain, there's no team where I'd be like, that's the team to win. Like even Argentina's kind of like they're a good team, but they're all kind of a little older and that can catch up with you quick. I don't think Brazil's great. I don't think Portugal's great. England is a good team, but again, it's England.
England never wins, so
England never wins. I reserve the right to doubt them until they prove me wrong. I think they have a good team, but like, there's no real like echelon of teams where like this is the teams that win. Like Germany, I don't think is that. I think they're stronger than they have been recently, but they're not that strong. It's going to be a really hard World Cup to predict this year because I see Spain and then everybody else personally.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, we seem to have sidetracked slightly.
It's okay. That happens on our show all the time, so don't worry.
Just going back to the Champions League game, I'm actually curious because like you mentioned earlier, like you'll be happy with a draw, you'll be happy with like anything that's not a defeat. How important is this game for you guys? Like, are you like, do you need to score points to qualify? Like, where do you see it?
We're in good position right now. Like we have, I think, 9 or 10 points, which at this rate, like I think we have 1 or 2 more games left. It's you guys, and Bilbao, I believe.
Okay.
A draw here would be phenomenal because it would make having to go to Bilbao a lot less daunting. Yeah. We're in okay position to qualify right now. We're kind of in the position we were in at this time last year, which is we kind of control our own destiny. We're ahead of enough teams. It feels like it's going to maybe take a little less points this year to qualify in that 24th or 23rd spot than it did last year, just because a lot of teams have been very uncharacteristically poor in Europe this season. Like Benfica's, like I know they've rattled off a couple wins lately, but they lost like 4 straight or 3 straight to start. Very unlike them, even for a Portuguese team. But yeah, like it's an important game. If we come out with a draw, we're going to be very happy. If we come out with a win, we probably almost guaranteed qualification as one of that first playoff teams. Yeah. Which is fine. That's where we were last year. Was we finished in the playoffs and we had a very tough tie with Borussia Dortmund. They're a good team. So yeah, I think for us, like this isn't like a do or die game, but it's a game that could very drastically change our fortunes one way or another, depending on how good or bad the result is. Like if it's like a 1-0 loss, it doesn't hurt. If it's like a 5-0 loss, then it's like now we have to get calculators out for goal differentials, goals against, all that. If we come out with a draw, we're going to be celebrating in the streets. We'll be very excited. It will be very well happy points. But we still have a game against Bilbao, who we'll match up very well against, much more evenly against, I think.
Yeah. Do you know if you're playing them at home or in Bilbao?
I believe we played them in Bilbao.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's our I think that's our last match day is Bilbao at San Mamés Stadium, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because we went to play them a couple of games ago, and like for us, we got the draw in Bilbao, and like I remember like looking at this game and like they were really in bad form in the Liga at that point, like really not doing well in the Champions League. And I remember doing a preview going like, look, like it's Champions League, so it's always going to be tough. And like, you go to Bilbao, like the atmosphere, the stadium, the identity, like kind of can get to you very easily. So I wasn't really saying like, hey, we're walking into a game that we're going to win 5-0, but definitely a game that we should be winning. And in the end, they turn up like their best performance of the year against us.
It's one of those things where even when they're, for me, I look at Bilbao the same way I look at a lot of teams like Galatasaray or Celtic. It's one of those teams where realistically, especially if you're like a PSG or a Man City, you're like you kind of expect to win. But because it is kind of a more hostile atmosphere, and it makes for a much tougher away day than you might initially expect in the lead up to the match. Because they have a phenomenal. I mean, it's a beautiful stadium on television. They have a very, very vocal, very loud, passionate fan base.
So is it the same thing in Sporting, by the way? Like you guys, like obviously there's very nice stadiums and passionate fans in Portugal. I'll be honest, like I was happy when I saw the draw because like one, I was excited for the Portuguese matchup for all of our players playing against a team that we don't really know that well, but also like going on an away game in January and getting to play that in Portugal, like so
it's better than going to like Kazakhstan.
Exactly. Like I'm very happy. Like the away game in Lisbon in January is really what you want to be doing.
Ideal. That's an ideal away day at this time of year. You don't want to have to go to like Czech Republic or Slovakia.
The Arctic Circle, like whatever the team was in Norway.
When Russia wasn't banned, you're playing like Siberia, like just nonsense. It's a good away day. And on the scene, like we've actually made a lot of improvements to our stadium in recent years, just because like it was built for the European Championships in 2004.
Yeah.
So it's 20 years old at the time when they started doing upgrades.
Mhm.
A lot of we actually lowered the pitch because we had one of those
Mhm.
big moats, if you've ever seen it, in
Yeah.
between the stands. So if you just like fell off like the stands, there's like a 20-foot drop to your doom.
Wow. Yeah.
So they've lowered the pitch, and they've actually put more seats in, kind of removed that, which is it makes for fans closer, not quite as close like you would at some English grounds, but still closer and a bit more on top of you. New video boards, new benches, press boxes, all that stuff. So it's actually been really heavily improved. It actually just hosted the Women's Champions League final this past year.
Yeah.
And it's set to be one of the stadiums at a World Cup in 4 years as we co-host with Spain and Morocco. So
Yeah.
If you're a traveling PSG fan, it's seen a lot of good, nice upgrades the last couple years.
Yeah.
The area itself is it's one of the nice areas of Lisbon, the Alvalade area. So it's a fun away day. Any Portuguese away day is a fun away day. Typically, like you're gonna get generally good weather, generally pretty good food. So like if you're a PSG fan, try like go enjoy it, see the sights and sounds of Lisbon. It's a beautiful city.
Yeah. No, and like our fans obviously like they've also been making their marks through Europe like last season and so on. So I think like they'll be pretty happy with the move. Definitely easier than and then for us, like our last game in the Champions League group stage, it's at home against Newcastle. So very, very happy to be playing Sporting away in Lisbon and Newcastle at home instead of the other way around.
Honestly, that's very fair. I wouldn't want to go to that Northern English winter away day.
No, and we did that a couple of years ago in the group stage. Like it was like one of Luis Enrique's first game in the Champions League with PSG and got our ass handed to us. If you remember, I think we got like a 4-1 defeat in Newcastle or something like this. Something really ridiculous. So I think like one will be looking to settle the score on this game, but also for us, I think like looking at those two last games, right now we're sitting third on the table of the Champions League. Obviously, every point is going to matter, and now we want to finish as high up as possible because it's not only about finishing in the top 8, but like depending on where you rank in the top 8.
Well, now they actually reward you for the points. Yeah, that's the one thing I do actually enjoy about the new format is there is a bit more jeopardy in general, but also like the points do matter a bit more because if you are first or second, you get one of the lower playoff teams that qualifies in the next round, right? And you get the bye as well. You don't have to play that extra 2 games, which is nice. So there is actually some consequence and reward for finishing in the top 8 and outside of the top 8, which I like.
Well, and then again, like last season, obviously we finished outside, got through, and then played Liverpool in the first. Like we went finished top of the.
You guys got a murderer's row of games. You had Liverpool, you had like Arsenal, you guys had like all the.
We went through like all of the English teams,
Which honestly, like I don't watch as much Premier League as I used to. I can't stand Premier League stuff, so it was like good. I don't want all the English teams to lose.
Farmers on tour,
I don't want to turn this into an anti-English rant, but there's so much good football in Europe outside of England, and it pains me to watch some of these English fans just slag off some of these other leagues. Like, go why? Like, all of your best players in your league are not English. They are French, they are Portuguese, they are Brazil. They're anything. Most of them are anything but English.
Even
like
the
you have
coaches.
to buy all of our players.
Which
is the English motto, after all. We'll just steal all the stuff from everybody else. That's cool.
We'll get the money from the TV rights and just like reinvest in getting like all of the players we can get our hands on. But,
that's the English model. We'll steal all the cool stuff throughout history from everybody else and say this is ours now.
No, fair.
All
right. So anyway, just to close it up, like, can I ask what's your prediction for this game?
I think it's going to be a 3-1 PSG win. I think we'll get a goal. I think you guys will score a goal or 1 or 2 goals early. We might pull one back to give us some hope. But then you'll probably have a dagger like middle of the second half to kind of put the game to bed. If I was a betting man.
I think like for me, honestly, like I mentioned it earlier, but like it's so hard to forecast PSG games in the Champions League because like it could be the team that played in Leverkusen and put 7 past Leverkusen that turns up, or it can be the team that played in Bilbao and couldn't score in Bilbao, and like there's kind of nothing in between. So I don't know if I should be forecasting like a 5-0 or a 1-0, you know. I think
That's fair.
Yeah, I think in this case, like I said, I think our form has been ascending a little bit. I think Dembele being back on form, it's just like I don't know if you saw the goal. Like, so he scored 2 goals against Lille in our league game this weekend.
I did see those goals.
It's like, man, the Ballon d'Or is back, and like all of the naysayers who were saying like we'll never see Dembele at the level he was at last season, like yeah, he's back, and like
he's like, yeah, hang on a second.
Yeah, so I think like 3-1 is probably like, yeah, I think it sounds like kind of like right on the money. I'll be super happy as long as we get the 3 points. Like that's my only hope for this game is that we get the win. We stay like third in the table, and we go for the last game against Newcastle, like having all of our cards in our hands. But yeah, like 3-1 would be nice.
Yeah, I would imagine so. we'll be watching from our myself and one of my co-hosts, Danny. Like we're in Eastern Canada, so we'll be watching. It'll be like afternoon for us.
Yeah, you guys have the right timing from where you are.
That's one of the fun, or like one of the more enjoyable things about being North American based.
Yeah.
Danny lives in Toronto. I live just a couple hours away from him in Kingston and Ontario, like both in Ontario. So we get a lot of the Champions League games at like 3:00, 3:30, that kind of time. Sam, Chris as well. Actually, he's Eastern Europe. He's Eastern United States in Rhode Island, so he has the same time. And then Sam lives not far from London, actually in Stevenage, so he gets the normal European kickoff time. But that's one of the kind of fun things is like you can get home from like I remember coming home from school as a kid. It's like, all right, we're gonna turn into Champions League on Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever. Which will always be which is always kind of a fun thing. So it's kind of a nice way to like finish your work day and like check the score of the game kind of thing.
Yeah, man. Like for me, the games are like 4 a.m, so it's not an easy one. It's a bit painful.
Yeah, the only thing that stinks is if you are like a Premier League or Bundesliga fan or that, like the games tend to take place more in the morning here. But they're still at like 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning typically, which is still like more than doable. It's not 4 o'clock. Like I remember the last World Cup in Qatar, the games were on like 3 a.m. my time. So I actually got the first day where they had the 3 o'clock games. I'm like, I'm gonna watch. And I went to work. I'm like, I'm never doing this again unless it is my team playing. I am not watching these games. I cannot do that.
So I've got to tell you, like, final of the Champions League last year at 4 a.m. was just like such a like. It's a very like completely strange, but like such a good moment
weird,
as well.
Right?
It's like it couldn't.
One of my earliest memories is the World Cup when it was in Korea, Japan in 2002, and I was very young. I was maybe 4 years old.
Yeah.
And all I remember is everybody coming over to watch the Portugal and whoever game. And it was like, again, like 4 or 5 in the morning, whatever time it happened to be, Canadian time. And all I remember is those were the best donuts I ever had in my entire life. That's the only thing I remember was people were at my house way too early and we had donuts that were really good. That's all I really remember.
That's a win. That's a big win.
Which I'll take as a win. But I can't get like those early kickoffs are brutal. So anybody who lives in a time zone that's not conducive to that, like you're a trooper. Good for you.
Yeah. Thanks. Anyway, before we close, like, do you want to plug your channel? I'm gonna like obviously link up everything when I post. Like, just tell us a little bit. What do you guys do? Who are you, and so on.
Yeah, of course. So our channel is All Things Alvalade. So we're sporting based podcast. We're like I think the only English language sporting based podcast on the internet. On YouTube and Spotify, whatever. Yeah, we do usually like a weekly podcast. We do like recaps of our games, kind of like a quick league roundup. We like to do a fun thing with like predictions. So our league predictions is we'll guess like, okay, what's going to be the result of the sporting game, and you get like a point if you get the result, 2 points if you get the score line, a point for every goal scorer. And then we just had it hit for the first time ever was you get 3 points if you predict an own goal. So it's so I actually like we did our predictions like, guys, I find one of us predicted own goal this week. Who was it? It was me, actually. I forgot. So I actually got the 3 bonus points in prediction. We've been doing this for like 3 years running, and anytime that anyone's ever predicted own goal, never hit. So the 1 week I predicted it, I was like, oh, it finally worked. God, I got the extra points. But
That's
yeah,
right.
we're pretty laid back. We like to joke around, have fun. We do the odd live stream, like watch along during the games.
Yeah.
Like we did our last 2 cup finals. This year against Benfica, last year against Porto, that kind of stuff. But yeah, check us out on YouTube if you're interested in learning about what it's like to be heartbroken and watch some weekly therapy sessions as a sporting fan. If you're looking just to learn some more about Portuguese football.
You said you guys won the double last season. You cannot pull that card, you know?
Yeah, but look, we went like 18 years. We won nothing. Like my whole childhood up until my adulthood, we didn't win it. I graduated college and high school, had a job, and we didn't win anything for a long time. My first memory of sporting is losing the UEFA Cup final at home to CSKA Moscow.
Yeah.
Like my earliest memory of sporting, like one of my first games, like, oh, we're gonna celebrate today. Like my uncles are coming over, my grandpa's coming over, we're gonna watch the game, and then just let
for me, I think I'm a bit older than you, because like I got into PSG in the 90s, where like it was the heydays of Arthur George was the coach, and we had like George Weah and Ginola and so on, and that got me hooked. And then I went through all of the 2000s, where it was horrible for PSG. Barely managed to stay in League One, like almost got relegated and so on.
Yeah.
And then the Qataris arrived, and like
and then you got oil money. And look at
That's what we like. That's what every fan's like.
Yeah, it's great when it's great when it's your club that gets the money.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Anyway, man, thanks so much for doing this. Great talking with you. Thanks so much for all of the input. The game is on Tuesday night, European time. I think it's going to be a really great one. Obviously, we'll be talking more about the game on Red and Blue as we gear up for it. Thanks again. As always, leave a like on the video if you've made it this far. Go check out All Things Alvalade. Great stuff on Portuguese football and on sporting. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Button is right there somewhere. And yeah, don't forget, on the Champions League is back. Ici c'est bye!